Good morning, party people. I am in the St. Louis, Missouri area. Had a long drive yesterday from Nebraska. I don't know, some little town in Nebraska. Man, Wyoming is a wide state. Nebraska is a wide state. Man, these states out west are wide. And it was cold. Woke up yesterday morning, jumped in Panther, wouldn't start. Cranking, no start. Come to find out, I still had an old fuel pump relay in there. A lot of you guys keep those spare fuel pump relays in the car. Man, throw them old things away. If they are older than 10 years old, just throw them in the trash. Throw a jump wire in there. Put a jump wire in there. Boom. Car fired right up. Got back on the road. Got into St. Louis. Man, around 1 o'clock in the morning. But had a decent night's sleep. Today I'm going to help Mary try to contact a couple other people that asked me to check in with them while I'm here. Probably after this, I'll be headed to Memphis, then to Knoxville, then on to Atlanta. So if you're in the area and you want to connect, call or text. Trying to do my best to take care of everybody. I wasn't planning on coming through St. Louis, but man, Mary, she just kept on persistent. Robert, come through as soon as you can. So anyway, check out this S80. Not really familiar with those cars, but we'll see if I can help her out. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks very much for watching. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert. That's me. This video contains things that I tinker with throughout the day. For step-by-step detailed instructions of those tasks, you can click on the links in the comment section below. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. This video also has tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. So, thank you very much for watching. Kicking off the morning with the Platinum Wagon. We're going to put these red lowering springs on the car. We're also going to replace some of the coolant hoses. We're going to replace the turbo, putting the R exhaust manifold on there, replacing the firewall junction, and the heater core. So, let's get cracking. Pulled the amp out of this car because he put an aftermarket unit in there. He also sprayed the dash. Man, that looks good. It was tan. But I'm getting ready to pull this out of here so that we can put the new one in and secure it. So I'm gonna unhook that from there, put the new one in there, get this thing ready to secure. Putting some lowering springs on the 850 Platinum Wagon because we don't have no rubbing and we wanted to create some of that. Pretty new spring seats. How many miles do you think are on them?
No more than 15.
Less than 15,000 miles. Already torn with his conies. Check it out, boys and girls. I'm driving a Mini. Woo-hoo! Man, down this mountain in North Salt Lake City, Utah. Yeah! Don't go over that cliff. Yeah! This thing is like awkward, but it's a stick. So it's got something going for it. I'll do a little review on this later. I think it's a 2012. This thing is like driving a little go-kart down here. Whoa! Going around these corners, down this hill. Tight little suspension. Think I got a straightaway now. Whew, man, that was crazy. I'm gonna tell you the altitude difference from my buddy's house down to the bottom of this hill. It's a serious climb. Couple of little neat things. Well, the reverse is all the way over here. You gotta come way over, up, and got the sonar for backing up. Let me know I'm getting ready to hit a curve back there. That's kind of neat. Emergency handbrake is here. Got a lever under it. Lift that up. Lock the handbrake in. Window switch is down here. Going up with the window. Mini. I think this is a 2012. Got some things up here, lights, whatnot. Doesn't have the link system. It's got a shade there, shade for the sunroof there. That's kind of nice. Guess you could open that up, let a little more light in. Heck, I don't think you can totally block that off, so that's as dark as it gets in here. Got in the car, couldn't get it started. I had the key in my hand and kept pushing the start button, put my foot on the clutch, nothing. You got to take this key thing here, stick it in this hole, and it locks in. Then just now I didn't know how to get it out, but I figured out. I push it in, now it releases it. So you got to put the key in, put your foot on the clutch, then hit the start button. Had me stuck here for a minute or two. All four Cooper S having some nice torque. Look at those big brakes on this little car. Nice looking wheels. A lot of hole in the roof action there. Really a nice little car here. When you get in it and ride it, the car is stiff like you're riding in the wagon. Come down that hill, it's a little bit notchy on the shifting, which is okay. But man, I like the torque. And it's got a little power, a little get up and go. Put the key in, got a couple error messages up there. Got to push the clutch in, tap the start button, fires right up, 170 miles to empty, 98,000 miles on the odometer, and the controls are right here, nice and handy. Not only do you have your speedometer there, you got a great big dial speedometer here, all the way up to 160. There you have it, folks. Tough little ride. Came up this mountain, no problem. The brake booster is kind of kept in by the ABS stuff down here. So I lifted it up the best I could. I maneuvered that master clutch cylinder in, and I pushed the things through the hole. I run the hose up behind these lines, and it's set to go on the end of the reservoir like that when we cut the tip of that whenever we're ready. Brake fluid doesn't look that bad. We'll test it, and I got some fresh brake fluid just in case we need it. So I'm gonna go inside, do some more stuff in there. I'm gonna run the cables through this hole because the cables come behind this steering rack thing here. Get those in place. Next step, we are going to replace the seals in the transmission, and we got some paint overspray on the mating surface between the transmission and the engine. You cannot have that. This transmission has got the ground with the engine, and paint on that surface won't let it. You will get a no crank situation if you let that fly or try to let that fly. You'll be pulling the engine back out to fix it, because your ground right off your battery mounts on the transmission, which grounds to the engine. So you got to make sure this mating surface is free of anything. No rust, no paint, no nothing. So we're going to wire wheel that off of there, change these seals, and get ready to drop this bad boy in. I installed the master clutch cylinder. I took all 4 bolts off of the master brake booster assembly from the inside. Because the 96 and newer cars have this ABS pump in the way, you can't pull that out. So I pull it out as far as I can. I slide the master clutch cylinder under it. I turn it in a way, there's a nipple on this one because it was a 99, had a switch on there. I put that at the bottom. I pushed it through. I got the screw in the hole and the other hole lined up. Then I ran the hydraulic line behind the lines on the ABS pump, and it's sitting right up here where it's now ready to be attached to the brake reservoir. On the inside, I put the nut on this bottom one closest to the steering yoke. Then I put the T40 up here. Then I came in here and I ran the bolts in the, left this one out on the top. Then I put the pedals in, the 850 pedals. The switch is on, connect those. I don't have a switch on the clutch right now. I put the vacuum on this switch here, and I put the bolt in the bottom there and the top there, and I ran these 2 bolts in up top here to secure. Let me get my finger. This one here, that one there, to secure the pedal assembly in. Next, I'm going to put the 2 bolts back in under the steering column thing, because I had taken those out to get the brake pedal out. After that, I replaced that firewall junction there, so I'm going to put the thing back on for the accelerator pedal. It goes this way. Put the pin back in the accelerator pedal, wherever that plastic pin is, and I'll hook up the heater core. Then I'm going to run the clutch pedals through the hole there. Next thing I'm going to do is put the shift cables in. The shift cables go through the hole and they go to the inside of the steering yoke. So they should be in between the steering yoke and the firewall. And because this is an 850, you gotta separate the shift cables here. The yellow cable comes through on the driver's side. The one without the yellow on it comes through on the passenger side. So I'm gonna go ahead and push those through the hole. And I would push the bottom ones in first, feed them down. You could even feed them down through the passenger side if you don't have your heater core in the way. And then fold the cables back that way and push them up through the center console area. So here are the cables. The one with the yellow on it goes on the driver's side or lower. Then they come up through the firewall. Then this goes over top of it. Then you put your 10 millimeters. Then your yellow goes on your driver's side here. So I'm gonna stick these through this hole one at a time, being careful not to tear these boots. And I'm gonna put them on between the firewall and the steering rack yoke. I started the cables through. I went outside, pulled them through a little bit behind the steering yoke, and I came back inside, pushed them through a little bit more. Now I'm going to go back outside and make sure they pull through the way I need them to. Pull them through a little bit more. And I'm gonna just push them under the wheel area to get them out of the way, so when I drop the transmission down, they're not in the way of the transmission. Or you can pull them through and hold them up out of the way. Take your pick. I'm about to put this rubber grommet over these 2 holes. Now let me say this. This rubber grommet is just like a gasket to stop the cables from leaking water through them. I'm gonna push it through there, and then I'm gonna put the plastic over there. I'm gonna snug these bolts down. I tried to tighten one time, snapped the bolt right off. So just snug them down. Not quite falling in place there where I wanted to. So this one with the yellow, I'm gonna go ahead and tuck these cables over and twist them so I can guide them through those 2 holes. The yellow one comes through this hole, the other one goes through that hole, and then that'll fall in place easier to put that trim piece on and snug those 10 millimeter nuts on there. So there it is, 2 10 millimeters in, the plastic's pulled across there, the cables are pulled through the center console area. I'm gonna go ahead and put the gas pedal back on, accelerator pedal back on, and then I'm gonna secure the bottom of this steering yoke. Dan, I don't know if Adriano got you on this transmission deal, man. This thing is looking like brand new. All he had to do was tape off this bracket and paint this black or blue. I'd have gave him A++. tap the seals all the way in until you hear them bottom out. It'll change the sound pitch. Now we're going to pull that bolt to drain the transmission. Pull this bolt as a fill hole and tighten this bolt down and put that one in finger tight, so when we service it once it's in, we'll see fluid start coming out of there to let us know that we're full. We have swapped out this rear mount using the one from the S70. As you can see, we got the new firewall junction in. We don't have a big downpipe yet. We're going to try to get one of those later. So what we're about to do is mount the transmission on here, because he totally cleaned off the surface of the transmission that mates to this engine. Now we have this flywheel that's different than the one that was on there, so we may have a reverse polarity situation on the sensor, so we may have to reverse polarity those wires. If we go to start this car and it doesn't start because we have no spark, we'll have to change the polarity on this crank sensor. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.